Hello guys and welcome back to Big Brother Review. Now this is my second episode of the day, so bear with me because there's a lot of stuff going on. I've watched 2 episodes in the space of like an hour and a half, so my brain is kind of all over the place with thoughts and feelings. So after the events of last episode, a lot of things have started to twist and weave their way throughout the narrative of this story, and I think it's getting a little bit more interesting now. People are starting to play games when they weren't playing games before. People are being hypocritical, people are being a little bit naive, and I've got to say, there's some fake ass people in this house now. Before we get into the episode, I just want to say thank you guys very, very much for the support. You guys are liking, you're subscribing, you're commenting, you're doing all that amazing YouTube stuff, and it really makes me feel loved, and it makes me feel like I am doing the right thing, and I'm definitely making good steps towards sort of maybe making a career in this. I don't know. Big Brother's over in like a week and a half, so I've still got Survivor to do. I might be doing some I'm a Celeb videos. I don't know about I'm a Celeb just yet, but and obviously the Trace is starting, so I'm going to be doing a lot of hopefully different videos on my channel. But thank you guys very, very, very much for your support on this. I might even start doing some backlogged videos on Big Brother 25 from the US. I don't know, but we'll see what happens, okay? Okay, let's get back on with the episode. And the episode started with a couple of apologies. They felt a little bit forced, if I'm being 100% honest, and it felt like they realised that they fucked up and they needed to sort of, quick, damage control quickly. Jenkin went and apologized to Trish, and I think by extension Yinrun for the for the whole thing that happened yesterday. And I thought, yeah, it's good that you're apologizing. However, you've not really understood why Trish is upset with you. She didn't accept the apology. She was like, look, I'm not playing Happy Families when I know it isn't Happy Families. It's not, I'm not fake, I'm not like that, I don't want to do it. Like, if you don't like me, you don't like me, that's fine, but don't come and apologize to me and say, are we cool? Because no, we're not. Like, we can be civil, but like, we're not cool, we're not like that anymore. And I think that's fair. That's absolutely fair and valid in my eyes. He also apologized to Yinrin later and said he wouldn't hold it against her, like, for voting him like for nominations yesterday. And she went, yeah, but did you hear why I said that I was nominating you? And it's because like Jenkins been the one that's kind of been walking away from conversations with her and making her feel like she's not good enough and things like that, and like she's not interesting to talk to. And I just thought, Jenkin, you really didn't listen to why she nominated you. Like, Trish just nominated you because everything that's happened. Jordan nominated you because you nominated him. Yinrun had a very, very valid reason for nominating you, and it seems like you didn't hear her. It just seems like you were going, oh, don't worry, I won't hold it against you. No, 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 no. Listen to what she said. Correct yourself, because that's why you were nominated, not because she didn't want to pick anyone else. No, she had a valid reason. Really, really, really winds me up when people... Oh, anyway. There was a really weird conversation with Matty and Tom about Tom being a butcher, and I gotta say, I completely forgot he was a butcher. I remember him mentioning it on opening night, on like launch night, and he said that he's a, what did he say? He's a butcher, but he hates the sight of raw meat, or he hates the sight of blood, or I can't remember exactly, but like I just remember thinking like that's such a weird job for you to have if you don't like raw meat slash blood. Like, what? Like, is this a family business? Because that would make sense. Like, you're being forced to work there. But like, if you've chosen to work there, that's a bit crazy, I won't lie. A few other random conversations that were brought up were Noki talking to, I think it was Matty, about the reason why she chose Trish to be her partner for the Halloween nominations. And she said it was just because she hasn't really spent much time with Trish and she wanted to get to know her a little better, and thought that this Halloween task would be a good way to sort of get to know her, which I feel like it has. It's brought them closer together, definitely united them. against a common cause. Paul. But yeah, I think it was a very genuine reason. I don't think it was anything other than that. And Noki was also talking about how she feels like the other group now thinks that there's a target on their back or feels like their days are numbered, but she says that everyone should feel like that because they don't know what the outside is thinking at that specific time. Everyone who's been chanted at has gone home, so who could be next? Do you know what I mean? I don't think it'll be any of the main six, but I think Tom might be the next to go. I'll be honest. I'll be voting to evict him, not gonna lie. There was a little bit more of an update for sort of the whole Henry Jordan Matty situation. Matty is really, really upset that Jordan's been iced out. I don't know whether that made sense. Basically, Matty's upset that Jordan's been icing him out, and he basically called Jordan emotionally immature and was just sort of harping on about the fact that, like, oh no, no. And I was like, do you know what, you've made some valid points, but we haven't seen you approach him for that conversation. He has the problem with you, but that doesn't mean that you can't go up to him and be like, look, can we chat, please? Because he's not going to go no, because he's already had that conversation with Henry. And I feel like this whole thing is just wrong end of the stick. Jordan has jumped to conclusions, and he spoke with Trish in the last episode, and she said, stop making assumptions because you don't know what was said. And he was like, oh, fair enough. And that's when he spoke to Henry. But I just feel like he's a bit upset with Matty because he's asked Matty for that distance, but yet, like, I don't know, it's just weird. It is weird, and I don't know how to feel about it because personally, I would have to be like, look, let's be friends. Like, from the conversation they had near the end of the episode, it looks like they are not being friends. They are just being acquaintances that hang out in the same group of friends, which, if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. And it can be difficult, but at the end of the day, Jordan's very, very aware that Matty is in a relationship and he doesn't want to get those feelings like he was, because let's face it, he was growing attached to Matty, and he doesn't want to be in that situation because he knows that it's not gonna work. It's gonna be a messy, shitty, complicated mess, and he doesn't want to be a part of that. So I think Matty just needs to remember that Jordan can't express his feelings in a normal way, so he can't get pissed off when there's a lack of communication, because yeah, Jordan does just shut down and shut everyone out, and that's just how he functions. Telling him that that's not healthy, that's not this, that's not that, is not helping him in any which way. He probably knows all of that. You're not helping him in that situation, and I think that's what I found frustrating about this episode was, or especially about this part of the episode, was that Matty just seemed to be like, this is what you're doing wrong, instead of like listening to Jordan and realizing where he's coming from, why he's feeling this way, etc., etc. It's frustrating. I really would like to think that Matty will be up for eviction, but I think he's going to sail through to the finale, which is... So it's time to talk about the main task of the episode, and they were all given a block of ice and asked to basically melt it so that they could get into like a key that was in the middle, which would then unlock a case in the diary room for £1,000. Which, I gotta be honest, I'd have been trying desperately to get that key. However, I don't know whether this was just me not paying attention, but the rules of the challenge were not made clear to me, and I was then very, very confused when people started getting disqualified, because like apparently you weren't allowed to move the block of ice, you weren't allowed to leave the plinth, you weren't allowed to break the block of ice, so you kind of just had to melt it with your hands or your mouth, which yeah, fair enough, but like it would have been really inventive if they'd have just gone melt the block of ice, and everyone, like almost like a Taskmaster challenge where they had to run around the house and like get things that they thought might might sort of melt the ice. Maybe they said don't break it, but like grab stuff in the house that will melt it. Like someone might use a lighter and be like, that would be quite interesting. But instead we had just people licking and like rubbing parts of the ice, and it wasn't as interesting as it should have been. However, I will say this, it did start to get a little bit juicy when people started to get disqualified. Yinren tried to flip her ice to sort of approach it from a different angle, and that got her disqualified because she wasn't allowed to move the block of ice. Then Jordan and Trish were disqualified for not standing behind their plinth the entire time, which again, like, they just wanted a rest. They were just having a sit down, but no, they weren't allowed that. There was a point where Yinren was in the diary room and she was like, "We've got 6 liquors and 3 rubbers out there," and I cracked up. I was wetting myself because that was one of the funniest lines that she said on the show. And there was another moment, another Yinren moment that I'm just gonna add in really, really quickly here, where it was her, Chanel, and Olivia, and they were talking about the Shetland Islands, and Yinren was like, "Oh, they don't even have Asda over there," and Olivia was like, "No, they don't." It was such a really funny conversation. Although Chanel not knowing like the place that Yinren was talking about, I'm not even from Wales and I know where that is, so I feel like that was a little bit of a weird moment. Anyway, back to the ice challenge. So Matty just gave up, which was it was okay. He just kind of went, "Oh, fuck it, I don't care," and was disqualified. And then Henry, I gotta say, Henry had a very, very good strategy, and he was the only one to do this strategy. And he ended up winning because he was going in from the side. Everyone was going top down, either licking or rubbing or whatever, but he was going in from the side. So he managed to create a hole to the center and then grabbed the key and just slid it out, which was kind of ingenious. Like, actually, that was quite a good way of doing it, and it was a way that I certainly wouldn't have thought about doing it. So I gotta say, he did deserve to win that because his method was the best, I thought. Definitely. As for what he was going to use the money on, he got into the diary room and he said, "Well, I've got loads and loads of different things swirling around my mind. I can put it towards rent because rent is expensive in Kensington." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't doubt that. It sounds very expensive." He said that he also thought about maybe putting it as a tab behind a bar so that he and like the rest of the housemates could go for drinks afterwards. I have a feeling that's not going to happen. And I feel like if anyone's going to go for drinks, it's going to be his group. So I don't know. That seemed like a wishful thinking scenario, if I'm being honest. And then he also said that he might want to use it for like a night at Claridge's, maybe with Jordan. But again, valid use of money. He won it, so he can spend it how he wants. Do you know what I mean? And it's not even like he didn't deserve to win it because he did. Because he had the best methods. I was very sort of like, what is he doing? And then he did it, and I was like, oh, mad! He's actually smashed the challenge. What good on him. Good on him. The last little topic that I want to talk about is the Tower of Dares challenge. And I gotta say, the dares were so dry and boring. Like, so unbelievably dry and boring. To the point where I think Jordan pulled the first one, and it was just squirt some ketchup in your mouth. Okay, cool. He pulled another one, and it was like, sing a note for as long as you can, and he just went, "Oh," and it was dreadful. It was really, really bad. Yinren was made to do star jumps, and I think someone was forced to tell a joke. I think that was Matty, and he nicked Yinren's joke, which I was like, boo you. But like the whole thing just felt a little bit boring. They could have had more salacious scandalous dares in there, like maybe Jordan lick a housemate's cheek or something, like, I don't know, just something more interesting to watch that would have caused a little bit of ooh, then squirt some ketchup in your mouth. Because bought off, am I watching that? No. Bored. Yawn. Oh my god, yawn. Like, oh yeah. If Big Brother's gonna give them challenges like this, it's got to be interesting. However, the person who knocked the tower over, which turned out to be Henry, was given the ultimate dare. And I was like, ooh, what's this all about? They just made him dress up in some clothes and walk down the catwalk, which was basically the long hallway. It was entertaining because he did look kind of fabulous, and bless him, he really lent into it, and he did have fun with it, which was good. It was all done in good spirit, so that's great. But I just come on, yeah, there's so many cool things that you could do, and no, I'm sorry, they just weren't it, unfortunately. Well, that is all we have time for today. So thank you guys very, very much for watching. I'm excited for tonight's episode. Apparently some family members are going to be dropping by, which I don't know how I feel about that because of the whole sort of like no contact issue, but we'll see how it goes. It could be interesting. It could be not interesting. I don't really mind. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. As for nominations should be happening today to come out tomorrow in tomorrow's episode. So by the time I cover it, it'll be Thursday. But I'll be interested to see who you guys think will be up for nominations this week. Apparently there's been a rule break. Chanel and Olivia are in trouble, so could Chanel's immunity be taken away? Who knows? Could Olivia be put up for a nomination? Who knows? I guess we'll just have to find out. And yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. So thank you guys very, very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode tomorrow. Keep on ranting. Bye now.